everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of Sketch Support, and it feels so good to say that again. I have missed you all so much during my little break at the end of the year. So if you are new here, my name is Allison, and I am a scrapbooker and sketch artist for my family scrapbook store, Scrapbook Generation, and I've added a few more sketch titles to my list. I am also the sketch artist for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine and for Hip Kit Club. And these are two amazing companies that I am so very proud to be working with. I've always been a big cheerleader for sketches, and this video series showcases why. Sketches can be one of the most valuable tools in your scrapbooking supplies. Almost everyone talks about wanting more time, and using sketches can give you just that. Sketches provide a starting point, so you don't have to waste time trying to figure out what you want to do. In my eyes, sketches do all the heavy lifting, allowing you to have all the fun. And they can work for everyone, from beginner to advanced. If you are new to this series, this is how it works. I share a new free sketch that you can download at Scrapbook Generation, and I'll link to that sketch down below in the video description so you can grab it. Then I take that sketch and use it as the starting point for multiple layouts, with each layout looking completely different. The whole point of the series is to show you how easy it can be to adapt and personalize a sketch design to your own needs, whether that means customizing the size or amount of photos you use, the theme, the supplies you have on hand, or your own personal scrapbooking style. The most important thing to remember is that there are no rules when it comes to how you use a scrapbook sketch. It's all about making it work for you. And if you enjoy using sketches, I have a ton available at Scrapbook Generation, including 2 new sets I added a few weeks ago. There are also lots of free sketches as well, and at SG, we offer a huge selection of scrapbooking supplies as well, and I'll link to all of that down below in the video description. So let's go ahead and get started with a look at the new free sketch that this whole video revolves around. This month, we are working with a one-page sketch that has 3 smaller photos arranged in a row in the middle with a large background made up of circles. It almost looks like confetti falling at a birthday party or for New Year's Eve. There are a variety of sizes of circles, along with some hearts on a few of them. And there's also a bit of white space along the bottom that helps give the appearance of falling confetti. And that white space also gives the eye a little rest from all the busy details up here. Now let's look at the first layout I created based on this sketch. For this first one, I stayed really close to the sketch design with a few adjustments to work in the wintry theme I was trying to create. I used the same circle sizes as the sketch, but I did substitute snowflakes for some of the circles. Since snowflakes are a round shape, this was an easy way to adapt the sketch to the theme of my layout without having to make major changes. I always think it's fun and adds so many unique details when you incorporate the theme into the design. And there are so many fun themed elements that you could use with this sketch while still following the circle design. Any sports balls would work, or these circles could be hanging Christmas ornaments. Another idea would be beach balls or flowers or planets for a space theme layout or pizza. There's so many ways you can have fun with the theme while still following the general design of the sketch. For the small details, I used a teeny tiny flower punch to add more snowflakes. They looked close enough to a snowflake to me, so I thought it would work, especially when it's punched out of white cardstock. And I adhered those all over the layout in place of the tiny circles on the sketch. And I also used some Nuvo Dream Drops in Cloud 9 to add more snowy themed details. And this color is always so perfect for snow and winter themed layouts. Some other products that would work well for those tiny circles on the sketch are sequins, enamel dots, or even buttons would work too. Now, another area I changed on the sketch are the photos. I used 3 2.5 by 2.5 inch photos, arranged the same as the photos on the sketch. I almost always adapt the sketch to work with the photos I have on hand. To me, that is so much easier than trying to find the perfect sketch with the perfect amount and size of photos. It's more of a go with the flow approach. I tend to print a lot of photos at one time, so I always have photos that are ready to go without having to pick out photos, edit, crop them, and then print. For me, this makes creating a layout go so much faster. For my second layout, I switched out the circles for a different shape while still following the general design of the sketch. There are so many shapes I wanted to use with this sketch, and stars were high on that list. Stars are one of my favorite shapes to work with. So to start my layout, I used some black acrylic paint mixed with a little water to thin it out, and then I splattered it on the white cardstock. I have made it a goal this year to play and experiment more with some mixed media elements and tools, so I thought this would fit within that goal. Plus, I felt like those splatters could stand in for some of those smaller details, those small circles on the sketch. And I love the idea of the black mixed with the colorful papers I wanted to use. When it came to the arrangement of the stars, I stayed fairly close to the arrangement of the circles on the sketch. It's not exactly the same, but it is very close. I also added in some star frames just to add a little interest. I have always loved using different types of the same shape, and shape frames are a great option to add a little variety to a larger kind of cluster style design like this. For my final detail for the background, I added some wooden stars and some wooden cameras as well to match my theme. And then I've also got some foam stars and punch stars, just a lot of stars basically. With my photos, they differ slightly from the sketch. I used 3 2.5 by 3.5 inch photos, and really that's the most common photo size I like to use for layouts, one-page layouts especially, that have 2 to 4 photos. So it's a size I have a lot of printed and ready to go. Since this photo size is close to the one on the sketch, I didn't have to make any major adjustments to make it work. And that's kind of the beauty of this sketch. You have a lot of photo options that you can customize to fit many different sizes and amounts of photos. And if you want some ideas for adapting this particular sketch, I forgot to mention earlier that I have a bonus PDF that I make to accompany sketch support, and you can purchase that for $2. and it shows 23 more sketch examples that show how you can adapt and customize this sketch. And the fun part about that PDF is that you can mix and match different examples for endless ideas and possibilities. So the last change I made to the sketch design for this layout was adding a chipboard frame around my center photo. I loved the kind of grungy look of it and felt like it would tie in well with the other elements and it would highlight that center photo. With my third layout, I adapted the one-page sketch to a two-page layout. And if you have watched past sketch support videos, I'm sure you've heard me say this a million times, but I never let the size of the sketch determine the size of my layout. There are so many ways you can alter a sketch to work with a different size of layout. I've even used card sketches as inspiration for full-size layouts. To make this one-page sketch work on a two-page layout, I stretched the background design across both pages. And instead of circles, I created this larger sun and then accented it with a lot of little clouds. I cut the pieces of the sun on my silhouette, and then the clouds were from 3 different previous layouts I had made. I always seem to cut too many pieces when I use my silhouette, so I always have leftovers, and I refuse to throw them away because I know someday I'll have the right project for them. And thankfully for these clouds, that day was now. Also, to highlight the sun and clouds design, I used hand stitch borders on all of them, and the clouds have been adhered with foam adhesive for even more dimension. With my photos, I followed the layout of the photos on the sketch, but added more to extend the design across both pages. I also changed up the sizes of the photos to work with a larger layout. I ended up using a mix of 3x4 inch photos with 4x4 inch photos, and I added an extra little accent photo as well. To complete this design, I added a few kite stickers. I love that these had a little bit of red to match Drew's shirt in the photos. It really felt like this completed the color story on this layout. And that's it for this episode of Sketch Support. If you haven't tried sketches yet, I highly recommend you do. There are so many problems we run into in scrapbooking, and sketches can be the solution to so many of those problems. Lack of motivation, use sketches. No inspiration, use sketches. Need to save time, use sketches. And I'll be sure to link to all of the sketches we have at Scrapbook Generation, and I'll also link to our sketch Facebook group called Creating with Sketches. In that group, there are over 100 photo albums, one for each free sketch I've created. And members of the group are encouraged to share their layouts in the photo albums. And we always do giveaways and sketch challenges as well. And we would love to have you join us in that group. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.